Poseidon is a project of immense scale, skill, and difficulty. Poseidon is a game environment with a supporting body of works and offers a new approach to the major work, taking skills such as digital painting, 3D modeling, texturing, special effects, video editing, audio editing, visual coding, and design to a new level. As I'm speaking, you are watching a progression walkthrough of the development of concept art for Poseidon. Early sketches and landscape drawings created show the development of my ideas and how a change in artistic approach can lead to the development of a different product than originally anticipated. When I first started my major work, I was unsure of the artistic direction, so quick development of thumbnails helped me to establish an understanding of what I wanted to create. Done in Photoshop, thumbnails involve me quickly generating a variety of small sketches that use repetitive forms and different hues of grey to establish foreground, midground, and background. Character and creature concept art is also essential in the development of the project, with the time-lapses of a variety of character sketches being shown on screen. This was the planning of the character assets before modelling and allowed me to plan creatively before creating objects in a 3D space. Character art is also useful to ensure colours and style are chosen before modelling, allowing for artistic direction. Reference is important for any sketching practice and has been used throughout project development, with mood boards being collaged to ensure that all characters were proportionately accurate while still maintaining the classic stylized approach. Sculpting of 3D environment assets was one of the first steps taken when realising Poseidon, with ZBrush being the first program used in the 3D modelling process. Assets were developed through processes of extruding, appending, and sculpting combined to create the various assets that are seen inside Project Poseidon. Time and effort was placed into each sculpt of environment assets, and each asset had hours dedicated to them to ensure they were of the highest possible quality. The footage displayed on screen is some basic speed sculpts and some real-life render previews of my work. Reference sheets seen in the background helped me to constantly refer to a real-life image to ensure all my sculpts looked realistic in some manner. Further breakdowns of these environment assets are viewable in my art book. Once assets were finished development in ZBrush, they were imported into Maya or kept inside of ZBrush using ZRemesher, where they were retopologized into lower polygon formats of themselves. Reduction of assets with 500,000 to 1 million polygons to around 300 to 7,000 polygons was a time-consuming process and involved a lot of trial and error throughout development. Once assets are fully retopologized and optimized for game, they must be UV unwrapped, and a combination of ZBrush and Maya was used for this. UVs are 2D coordinates used for texture maps later in the asset development process. Similar to retopology, this process was time-consuming, but when done with patience and perseverance, yielded high-quality results. Once a high polygon model and low polygon model were developed, they would be set in the same 3D world space and exported into a program called XNormal. This program allows you to bake down the details found on my high-resolution sculpts to the low-resolution mesh, allowing me to maintain all the detail from my high-resolution geometry. Outputs of normal, height, cavity, and occlusion maps were generated and then compiled for the texturing process. Once all the baked textures had been compiled, utilization of Photoshop and the various brush tools to create a more authentic hand-painted feel allowed me to create the stylized aesthetic seen in Poseidon. Furthermore, programs such as Quixel Suite and 3D Coat allowed me to paint physically onto my 3D meshes and their UVs, allowing me to more accurately paint the assets. The creation of 2D plane textures in ZBrush was also a difficult process, with the creation of the dirt, rock, and sand textures all being made in ZBrush, baked with XNormal and composited in Photoshop. The grass texture utilized my own artistic skills to paint individual unique blades of grass, which were then duplicated to create the base of the texture. These same unique blades of grass are used for the 3D grass seen in game. For the game environment, it took me a long time to efficiently design and create an environment with multiple iterations taking place throughout development. Utilizing the tools in Unreal, I thought about what would be enjoyable for the player and the audience, and what would show off the assets I developed and my hard work. Starting with the land sculpting and painting, I built the base of the island and then adjusted throughout to ensure the level was interesting and unique. Once the base level had been developed, I filled it with my assets, ensuring that the assets suited and the product was looking cohesive. Playtesting and peer evaluation helped me to tweak certain aspects like the lighting, effects, and asset placement, and pushed me to create new assets to ensure the finished product was interesting and brought to life the idea of Poseidon. Character art is one of the final processes undertaken once the game environment had been completed, with the development of high polygon 3D characters being developed in ZBrush. The use of various tools and RGB painting allowed me to create a few stylistic models that complemented the game environment. Once models were created, they were posed, then rendered and composited in Photoshop. Further detail on this process and some other smaller processes such as special effects and visual coding are included in my record of production.